Peace, family. And again, I'm here to ask that question. Is this the government that you deserve? And what is this government doing that makes me ask that? Here in the midst of this Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein investigation, where Donald Trump has been linked to having communication and possibly participating with Jeffrey Epstein doing these illegal sex trafficking events. Donald Trump has been under pressure from the media and from his own MAGA base to finally release all the records associated with it. And what does he do instead? He released all the records associated with the Martin Luther King assassination. Now, like I said, this news broke late last night, early this morning, and Rachel Maddow was having a discussion with this with Reverend Al Sharpton. This is what they had to say. Watch this.
I know you've been in touch with Dr. King's family. I just wanted to ask what you can share about what you're hearing from them tonight as the public starts seeing these records.
Well, I've been talking to Martin III over the last several days, not since the documents were released. And he and Reverend Bernice, his sister, the two surviving children, have said they want to be able to review documents. It seems strange to many of us in the civil rights community, if not outright conspiratorial, that you want to release files, 250,000 files from 57 years ago. But you can't release the files of right now with Epstein just a few years ago. So is this a distraction? And
I'm gonna stop it right there. You know, first of all, let me speak on Reverend Al Sharpton. I used to like him a long time ago. I don't feel that he's well based on his body of work and the state of black people. I don't think he or his organization has done enough to continue supporting this man. Now, as far as these documents being released, and you going and Donald Trump, you going way back 57 years ago to release these documents to take the people's eyes off of your investigation. Now, I've always said whenever people talk about whatever Donald Trump is doing, and the first thing they say, well, this is just a distraction. That's a distraction. See, to me, when you say distraction, that means that you have some type of plan that you're trying to pull off. And you're doing something to take the people's attention away from what your plan, what the true intention of your plan is. Donald Trump have no true plan. Everything he do is brand new. You got people in Congress who work alongside of him day and night, and they don't have a clue to what he's doing next. So how can anybody 2, 3, 4, 500 miles away, sitting behind a microphone, watching this calamity, possibly say they can predict what this man because he's following a certain pattern? Donald Trump is not. He's following individual orders from individual people pulling at him at different times, point blank. And as far as him going back 57, 60 years almost, he didn't have to do that. Why didn't you just go back 21 years? Go back to 2001 and 9/11. Release the files of that. Show the Pentagon tapes that show an actual airplane hitting the Pentagon. Show why the United States government, after the towers fell, that they automatic they got a great sense of charity and decided to donate all the steel that came down during that collapse and ship it to countries overseas um, so they can recycle it. Why did the government get that charitable at that particular time? It's because they didn't want no investigation or no investigator to discover anything associated with that steel that caused it to collapse. You see, like I say, you don't have to go back 60 years, Donald Trump. If you really want to distract the people, you could have went back 21 years. But, it is what it is. But let's continue.
are we going to see J. Edgar Hoover and many of the vicious and untrue lies that FBI agents, some were documented to have falsified to hurt the civil rights movement and Dr. King personally at a time. So the public is distracted with that. Things that were never proven, things that had biased investigators, and we're chasing something from decades ago while they're avoiding talking about releasing files from today. I think this is as absolutely outrageous as one can imagine to do this to Dr. King's family who suffered so much.
You know, the thing is this: you have a you have to have some type of gall to do this to Dr. Martin Luther King's children, to release these files and see what Al Sharpton was talking about at the end was allegations of um, Martin Luther King fooling around, having sex outside of marriage, trying to discredit him and his movement. And the fact of the matter is this: at this point in time, it's 60 years since his assassination, almost. Martin Luther King is gone, Coretta Scott is gone, and the woman or women, whoever it is, who was fooling around with Martin Luther King, they're more than likely gone too. But see, the bottom line is the fact that because black organizations and black people are so dysfunctional as a people, they can go back and use events, our history, our people against us, and no fear or concern or recourse or nothing. This is totally disrespectful to the surviving members. And then, how do you even give his two or three children, surviving children, time to go over these? There's over 200,000 documents, and they want a chance to read it. That don't make no sense whatsoever. But let's finish up this interview that she was giving Al Sharpton. Let's watch this.
I know they had not finished all the review. I don't know how far they had gotten. Why was it so necessary to release them now? And what $250,000 documents? Is this beyond the assassination? Are we going to hear some of the unsavory lies that was put out by J. Edgar Hoover to discredit Dr. King? Is Dr. King being assassinated by this administration character-wise to try and avoid dealing with some recent files that the American public want to know? This is outrageous, and the civil rights community and most Americans, I don't believe, will stand for this.
You know what? The last thing on Donald Trump's mind is backlash from the civil rights organizations. And the reason for that there isn't a black church, there isn't a black pastor, there isn't a black organization that ain't in the pockets of the government. If your civil rights organization is run by 501c3, then you or any association you attach to, the government ain't concerned about you whatsoever, because these people are being paid by that. They're being compensated because they want to protect that 501c3. In order to protect that 501c3, you have to be in compliance with the government. You can't do anything to so-called rattle the cage. So as long as your civil rights organization, as long as your black church, as long as your black leaders are running up under 501c3, they're going to look after that way more than they look after the people, period. This is why my organization, Citizens of the African Order, is not a 501c3. It is not a non-profit organization. It is a for-profit organization. And I'm going to get into more of that later on. But see, the thing is, I'm going to close by saying this. If they're going to release these documents about MLK assassination, then whatever information that his children find if it finds that the government was complicit in this assassination, which means they perpetrated it or they collaborated with other organizations, other entities to assassinate Dr. Martin Luther King, then they should be held accountable. It makes no sense to release this information that's going to clear up all these conspiracy theories about the assassination of Martin Luther King, and the surviving members aren't able to make those responsible pay for their actions. Because see, the Jews, they didn't have no problem making the United States pay for the role they played in the Holocaust. As a matter of fact, the United States is still paying that debt off today. So if you're not releasing this information, so the family of Martin Luther King can be compensated for the loss of their father, then what are you releasing the papers for? And then once you do that, then the family members of Malcolm X, they should be next in line. And they should be compensated as well. You would have just been better off, Donald Trump, just addressing the needs of this Epstein case. Because now every civil rights leader, every assassination that people conspirized that the government had a role in, now they are going to start demanding the release of all those files. And like I say, is this the government that you truly deserve? One never use underhanded tactics like this against its own people. But leave your thoughts in the comment section. And I'll see you in my next video. Ashe.